Swamin namaste natalokabandho karunya sindho patitam bhavabdhau mamuddharatmiya kataksha drishtya rijvyati karunya sudhabhivrishtya. Swamin namaste, Swamin namaste, Swamin namaste, Swamin namaste. Yat kirtanam, yat smaranam, yadikshanam, yad vandanam, yat shravanam, yadarhanam. Lokasya sadyo vidhunoti kalmasham tasmai subhadrashravase namo namaha. Vichakshanaya charanopasadanat sangam vyudasyo bhayato antaratmanaha vindanti brahmagatim gataklamaha tasmai subhadrashravase namo namaha. Tasmai subhadrashravase namo namaha. Tasmai subhadrashravase namo namaha. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. Yes, last week I think I discussed quite in detail ahimsa, arjavam, ahimsa, and samatvam dvandva samjayoho. How we should always make use of all the opportunities, favorable as well as unfavorable opportunities, situations of happiness and unhappiness, to constantly keep the samatva of the mind, that is, unaffectedness in the mind. And that is one sadhana we must practice if we want to progress in our spiritual pursuit of attaining the supreme reality or discovering our real identity. The next sloka comes like this. Sarvatratmeshwaran viksham Kaivalyam aniketatam vivikta chiravasanam santosham yena kenachit. Sarvatratmeshwaran viksham Kaivalyam aniketatam vivikta chiravasanam santosham yena kenachit. See, we have been doing all these slokas and finding that the Yogi Prabuddha is discussing so many qualities which many we might be having. But when we go deep into that, we understand what should be our attitudes towards these qualities. And one after another, you will find every quality that he has said is so very important in leading a joyful life, leading a life which becomes, unaffected and is fearless with lot of confidence. And not only that, spreading into the infinite, spreading oneself everywhere, finding the self everywhere, finding divinity everywhere. As we will find, and I think We know it. What is the goal? The goal we always say is self-realization. But I think in very short, we would always like to be divine. We will always like to have peace in mind, happiness in mind, fearlessness in mind, not to have worries, anxieties, tensions, and to be able to love everybody, despite whatever their nature is, not to get irritated and agitated. This is what I think every one of us wants. And to be wanting this as we go forward, actually, we are slowly walking towards what is the self or Brahman. That is why these qualities are so important. And if we really lovingly, joyfully read all of them, do manana or rumination over them, think and contemplate on them, we'll find that it gives lot of lightness to the mind, freedom to the mind. See, this one says, Sarvatratmeshwaran viksham kaivalyam aniketatam. In our day-to-day life, all these we may not be thinking, but when it comes to us as advice from the yogis, we start thinking about them. Sarvatra Atma Ishvara Anviksham. So after having told about many qualities, which some of them actually we know, say these are the qualities, like in the previous sloka it was Shaucham, Tapaha, Titiksha, Maunam, Swadhyayam, Arjavam, Brahmacharyam, Ahimsa, then came Samatvam, Dvandva Samyayoho. The previous ones, like purity, tapas, titiksha, mauna, etc., it looks as though it is very simple. Then when it comes to samatvam, dvandva samyayoho, it looks that, we have to make an effort not to be afflicted, not to be agitated, not to be affected by whatever comes in our life. Now comes what? Sarvatra Atma Ishvara Anviksham. That is, a seeker or a devotee should learn to see the presence of the Supreme or God in everything, in everyone, as also in oneself. Since God is one, all-pervading, so He is everywhere. God is everywhere. He is everywhere, every time, in everything. There is nothing where He is not. So He is Brahman, God, Self. You can't say anything. The fact is that it is the one. And so, one must try to see God everywhere. See, even when we were doing this samatvam dvandva samyayoho, ahimsa, everywhere we are finding that everything becomes easy when we start feeling the same self is everywhere. So here in this sloka, emphasis is again given that see God or the Supreme Being in everything, everywhere, and also in oneself. So that is what one should be. So in all the qualities, if we go back to whichever qualities we have done so far and whatever we are going to do, we'll find ultimately that it is based on this, seeing God everywhere, seeing the self everywhere. So that is one habit one should be doing, trying to feel that as I am, the same self, the me, in me, the godliness, it is everywhere. There is no difference. This is what in Bhagavad Gita, the shloka is there. Sarvabhutastamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha. Krishna is telling Arjuna that who has the seeker, who has got, attained the yogic integration, that is yoga yukta. He has become yoga yukta. He is one with himself or the Brahman and has equal vision everywhere. Sarvatra samadarshanaha. He always finds his self abiding in all beings, as also all the beings dwelling in him. So, sarvabhutastam atmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma, the one who is yoga yuktaha, one who is one with his own self and also has samadarshana, that is, sees God everywhere. So he will always be dwelling in everybody and as his own self, and all the beings will be dwelling in him. So this one shloka is very, very important. And this one practice, my dear children, ultimately, we may be meditating, we may be reading, we may be listening, we may be reading book after book. Ultimately, it is the divinity that we have to understand. Divinity everywhere. That God is everywhere. And God means what? Even when we start our life, say as children, we find divinity in the temples, we find divinity when we worship. So that divinity, which is very different from our worldly lives or the worldliness that we have around us, when we feel peacefulness, joy, expansion, that divinity, brilliance, blissfulness, that divinity, suppose we could feel every moment around us, that is, we will never fall from that divinity. We attain it, we see it everywhere, and we never fall from it. How nice it will be. Now we are not able to. We are finding divinity only when we think of God, only when we read about Him, only when we meditate upon Him, or we listen about Him, we do some bhajana or kirtana, when we worship. Other than that, not. Our life is separated. Something is divine and another part is non-divine. So this sloka is reminding us, no, God is everywhere. We can find out that divinity if we try, if we think. Whatever we are perceiving through our senses, stop and think. Everything belongs to God. There is nothing where He is not. So this feeling, these thoughts, constantly, relentlessly, repeatedly, if we bring to our mind, then what will happen? We will start finding the essence of this existence, where there is the one essence, the one consciousness, the one God or one Brahman, where the variety is expressed as the world. We'll be able to see that essence, and then there will not be any affliction anymore. Again, I will read something from Prabhatirashmi. As I was doing, see, Swamiji is telling in the Prabhatirashmi lectures, the self and God are the same. God is no other than the self, and everything is the self. The self is not actually encased in the body. Like space, it permeates the body and instantly and equally permeates the entire world. So, the God or self, whatever you call it, it is the same. Brahman, it is the same. And our Shastras are saying that whether you call it Bhagavan, Paramatma or Brahman, it is the same. And it permeates everywhere. So, the self alone is to be known and realized. Why? When we know that oneness, as I explained in the last session, when there is one, who will be disliking whom? Who will be fearful of whom? If everything is one, the same, and there is no bheda, no differentiation, then the mind will not be afflicted or agitated at all. So, our aim is to actually our real identity is that, but we have forgotten it. By the mistaken identity that we have, we feel, though the body is changeful, we feel that this is the I. We have forgotten our real identity. So our aim is to realize or discover our own real identity. This self alone is to be known and realized. And this kind of Advaita thought and urge for Advaitic realization is the best blessing that God can pronounce on a devotee. So when people take to this kind of pursuit where one wants to find oneself, realize oneself, the changeless, eternal, imperishable, real identity, that is the greatest blessing that one can have. Then Swamiji is saying in another, what is then ultimately the spiritual goal of a seeker? My dear children, on and off we must think this. What is the ultimate spiritual goal of a seeker? What is the goal? Let us think, let us discuss. We are giving lectures, and we started during the COVID times. Regularly we are coming and talking. Otherwise also we were giving lectures. And many of you are regularly listening. There are many, many sincere seekers. But ultimately, what do we want by seeking? What is it that we are wanting? What is it that we are wanting to be free of? So, Swamiji is telling in one of the Prabhat Rashmis, what is ultimately the spiritual goal of a seeker? Is it to acquire that illumination or wisdom by virtue of which he will be able to remain constantly in communion with the goal? So, is it that it is the illumination or wisdom, the knowledge by which one wants to remain constantly in communion with the goal? That is what is being said. Sarvatra Atmeshwaran Viksha. And in the correspondingly in Bhagavad Gita, I just now told the shloka, Sarva Bhutasthamatmanam Sarva Bhutani Chatmani Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma Sarvatra Samadarshanaha. That is what we want. What? Constantly seeing God or divinity everywhere, every time, in everything, never falling from that knowledge. Our problem is that when we read, or maybe when we meditate, when we ruminate or reflect, we are able to understand. But the knowledge is not stable. We fall from it. And when do we fall? In our day-to-day activities. When various situations come, we find that we are not able to hold on to this knowledge at all. And we get disturbed, agitated. So, Swamiji is saying the purpose of any yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga or dhyana yoga, must be to give you a vision, a skill, a sublimated nature by virtue of which you will be able to perceive the self as present in all and all as present in the self. This verse, this shloka, is clearly a statement about an expansive outlook, an unbroken, continuous vision where there is no slipping, no fall, no break or gap. What happens? People will meditate. We meditate maybe say 1 hour, 2 hours, morning, evening. And then when we get up, all that we gained, the experiences of calmness, peace, stillness of the mind, whatever we gained during meditation, all goes away in no time. Why? Because we do not practice seeing God in our waking hours. In the day-to-day activities, day-to-day life situations, where also God is. We try to find God or Brahman only in meditation. When we go inside us, that is important. The self is inside, but at the same time it is universal. The same self is everywhere. So, whereas while meditating we may reach and get absorbed and may reach that state where the mind becomes absolutely still and there is a joy and bliss of absorption. When we get out of it, we lose it because we are not practicing to see God in everything. I have chanted this sloka many, many times, which is in Bhagavatam. Kham vayumagnim salilam mahim cha jyotim shi satvani dishodrumadin sarit samudramscha hare shariram yatkincha bhutam praname dananyah kham vayumagnim salilam mahim cha. In Srimad Bhagavatam it is being said that Kham is Akasha, Vayu is wind, Agni is fire, Salilam is water, Mahim cha, Mahim is earth. So the Panchabhuta. Jyotimshi, so the Panchabhuta we have described, and then the celestial objects. Satvani, all the beings. Jyotimshi Satvani Disho Drumadin, then all the directions. Dishaha, Drumadin, all the plants and trees. Sarit Samudramscha. Sarit is rivers and Samudra are the oceans. So we have covered everything. Everything in this universe we have covered. All the beings we have covered, the Panchabhuta we have covered, the trees, the plants, all the creatures we have covered, the water in the rivers, everything we have covered. So this everything is what? Hare Shariram. It is the body of the Supreme Being. He gets expressed in this manner. Whereas he is the consciousness, this is the consciousness. But he expresses himself in various forms. Now, when we are looking at things in this universe every day with our sense organs, we are interacting with various things. We see, we hear, we smell, we taste, we touch, we do everything. But while doing that, we are not thinking about the divinity behind it. That everything is an expression of God that doesn't come to our mind. We just do one activity after another. And our mind remains filled with various kinds of thoughts. Even the thoughts. In Bhagavad Gita there is a sloka which says that all the bhavas, all the attitudes, all the thoughts, whether they are pairs of opposites, dvandvas, it is fear, it is lack, or it is some kind of prosperity, anything. Each and every bhava of the mind, the emotions of the mind, the sentiments of the mind, the feelings of the mind, everything is being generated from that Supreme Being, because He alone is. So, what does a seeker do? What should he do? Keeping these words in mind, my dear children, you will all say, it is very difficult. When we are working, we cannot put our mind. Yes, when we are doing work very responsibly, fixing our mind on the work that we have to do work very perfectly and well and excellently, we may not be thinking of this. But what of the other times? When a work is over, we can think about that. Who has given this work? With what did I do? I worked with my hands, I have engaged my mind, I have engaged my intelligence. Does anything belong to me? Do I have control over any of them? That I am intelligent, is it my doing? Suddenly all that intelligence may go away. Suddenly all the strength of the body may go away. And when it will go or not go, I have no control over it. Then who is controlling? Who is that? Who is that power? Is there a power? All these thoughts. We spend our time thinking differently. What I will possess, what I will acquire, how much I will enjoy, where all I will go, what all I will eat, what all dresses we have to buy. All our whole day, at least most of the time, the mind is only thinking these things. But not about that. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling Arjuna that from me, everything has got born. And He alone sustains, everything dissolves in Him. So, when such shlokas, we are reading these shlokas, but you will be reading many other shlokas which are similar. All this should be reflected upon. Are we doing this reflection? Am I thinking like this? Say the person who does housework, does cooking, or the one who goes to the office can stop and think that I am connected to that source. I am part of that source. Who is giving me strength, making my limbs, my mind and intelligence work? That is why I am doing this work. Otherwise, I have no strength. I cannot control anything. We feel we are controlling, but if you think, you will find we cannot control anything in this life. Nothing belongs to us. So, he says, Swamiji is saying, fill every moment of your life with divinity. Let divine thoughts radiate from your being, become a ball of divinity, a flame of divinity. This should be the state of a seeker. This should be how we should be thinking, constantly thinking that we are seekers. We are progressing on this path. Our time should be spent in thinking that everywhere the self is, everywhere God is, and I am connected to that, and everywhere is divinity. So, sarvatratmeshwaran viksham kaivalyam aniketatam. So, kaivalyam, what is kaivalyam? Kaivalyam is to remain in solitude alone. And I think many of you must have forgotten. What is Prabuddha saying? The yogi. The yogi, first thing he said is that go to a guru and learn from him. So what is he saying actually? Go to a guru and learn from him how you should do your sadhana. Tasmat gurum prapadyeta jijnasu shreya uttamam shabde parecha nishnatam brahmanyupashamashrayam. So like this, the Prabuddha yogi had started. Go to a guru who has the qualities, who knows the self, who is a self-realized person, and he is the one who will be able to give you instructions on how to proceed on this path of liberation. What was the question? King Nimi asked, what should a true devotee, what he should do, or what are the disciplines he should follow so that he becomes liberated? This was his question. And in reply to the question, what this particular yogi Prabuddha told, we are discussing. And Prabuddha tells that to get liberated, you must have these qualities. And one after another, these qualities we have been discussing. And now he says, Kaivalyam. What is Kaivalyam? So, we must know from the Guru how one can meditate upon the self. By Guru's instruction, how he should learn to do meditation, sitting somewhere alone. Then one must develop the quality of aniketatam. What is aniketatam? Aniketa means no fixed residence. One should not have any fixed residence. Everyone remains either in a house, mostly in a house, and some may be like some wandering sannyasis, they may be staying in forest or some caves. There are some who may be residing in the temple lawns. But aniketatam is, niketa means residence, aniketatam is one should not have a fixed residence. But so we all have fixed residence. Then what, for a seeker or a devotee, what does it really mean? That is not getting attached to the residence. We have done earlier what Bhagavatam says, that even if you are staying in your house, you should remember that as if you are traveling. As when you travel, on the way, you will be residing somewhere or other for a few days. So the house should be looked upon like that. So one should not have any kind of possessiveness regarding one's house. And no clinging should be there in the place of reference. Not only the house, any clinging, any possessiveness to the place of residence, that is the house, to clinging to the comforts and luxury that one has, any such clinging, any such possessiveness is not good for a seeker. That has to be constantly introspected upon. Am I attached? Will I be able to live in a different condition? Will I be able to adjust anywhere and everywhere? In your own house, one should have the feeling that if suddenly there is a change, I should be able to take it with Samatva. That is why all these things, the qualities are being told one after another. But, it's as if a garland. If you grow in one quality, you'll be growing in another quality. Others will also grow. This is how the qualities grow. So this Samatva is a basic quality. Seeing God everywhere is a basic quality. This seeing God and seeing self, seeing the same self everywhere, in every being, If that is had, if you can practice that, you will find all these qualities will be very easy to attain. Similarly, the Samatva, the oneness in the situations of life. One is seeing God or self everywhere, and Samatva in the mind. Two situations, two pairs of opposites, which we do not want to have. Some we like, some we dislike. So, Samatva to the pairs of opposites, which either give us happiness or unhappiness. Being Samatva, having Samata to all that, that is also a basic quality that a seeker has to cultivate. So this aniketatam, aniketaha, in Bhagavad Gita also it is there, aniketaha. Aniketaha is the word which comes. So one must become aniketaha. So one should not have any possessiveness to the place of residence, and not only that, you can expand it to many things. No possessiveness, no clinging to the luxury, the comfort, what you wear, where you stay, what you want, no possessiveness towards that. You should be able to adjust to anything. If everything goes away, like our Swamiji was, I think his biggest message for this 90th Jayanti was, I am nothing and I want nothing. And why is he saying this? He tells us many times here also. Otherwise also. Why does he relentlessly say? Why does a guru relentlessly say? He lives it and he says it. Shoutingly he says, for others, for us to imbibe. To imbibe. I want nothing. If we can't say this, at least we want it, you will feel so free. We are not free, we are bound, we are always tense, always worried, always anxious, only because we are wanting. We don't even know what we want, actually so. Everything will be all right, still the mind will not be peaceful. What one wants, one doesn't know. All that has to be channelized by introspection, by reading, by listening, having faith in what you read, having faith what you hear from the masters, that there is only one thing. If we want that and we get that, all the worries will be over. Yam labdva chaparam labham manyate nadhikam tatah. Gaining which, attaining which, one will feel, I do not want anything anymore, more than this. And yasmin sthito na dukkhena guruna api vichalyate. And that is a state, attaining which you will feel that there is nothing more to be attained. Contented completely. Just like when we eat, initially when we are hungry, we want more and more food. Ultimately, when the stomach gets full, contented we are. Even the best of dish, even a small spoon of it, if one wants to give you, what will happen? You will put your hands, no. Why? Contentment has come. After that, you cannot take any more. But this is material contentment, and that is spiritual contentment. Nothing will seem to be greater than that. And yasmin sthito na dukkhena guruna api vichalyate. And in staying in that, being established in that state, what will happen? Guruna dukkhena api na vichalyate. And if heaviest, the greatest of misery comes, adversity comes, one will not be affected. One will remain in Samatva. No disturbance. I think all of us need that only. We get affected by nothing. Always the mind is restless. We want unaffectedness. Swamiji said, unaffectedness is liberation. Unaffectedness is liberation. That is what we want to have. So, aniketatam is this. So, not only that, what we should feel is that we are in the lap of God. That is not having attachment to one's own house. Let there be a good house. What of that? Beautifully decorated. Have comforts. Remain nicely. Can we not think that I am staying in the house of God, in the lap of God? Wherever we are, we should be thinking we are in the lap of God. That is what generally the wandering sannyasis, they try to think. Yatraiva yatraiva mano madiyam, tatraiva tatraiva tavasvarupam. Wherever my mind goes, I see your swarupa alone, O Lord. Yatraiva yatraiva shiro madiyam, tatraiva tatraiva padadvayam te. And wherever I roam about, wherever I go, my body is going, my head is always bent down at your feet. How beautiful these thoughts are. We should stop and think about this, Always the I-ness comes forward. I have done this or I have not done this. I want this. I can do this. I suffered like this. So always the I comes and the mind comes. I and mine. That puts us into all kind of problem. So when we have this aniketatva, aniketaha feeling, then what happens? Vasudhaiva kutumbakam. The whole world becomes my family. The whole world becomes my house. There will not be any kind of suffering where I am. That is what, when one takes to this path, one renounces. That is what one tries to do. That is why in the ashrams, whoever comes, from wherever they come, we don't know them, from various land, various language, various their natures, various ways of living, various ideas, people come. And we try to embrace everybody. That is what we learn to do so. So I'm remembering one story. I think I must have told you this one, but still, this aniketaha. I had asked Swamiji once when we were chanting Bhagavad Gita, and in 12th chapter this word comes, aniketaha. So I was asking Swamiji that, oh Swamiji, how does one become aniketaha? I was thinking of myself. I have left my home, but I am in an ashram. I have a residence. I have a roof over my head. So, how does it apply to me? Then Swamiji said, all these qualities, always you don't have to, it may not be possible to actually experiment it, but your mind should be ready to accept it, adjust with it when it comes. Your mind should be ready. So, at that time I thought that one should live in the wherever one lives, just like sitting in the railway station, thinking as soon as the train comes, you should be ready to leave and go. That should be the attitude. But possessiveness comes, attachment comes. Long back when in our old building, one day a small boy, very young, 15, 16 years old, he was speaking Hindi, very torn clothes and dirty clothes he had. He was wearing a dhoti and one shirt, with a small bundle. He had come. So we could speak to him in Hindi and understood that he is traveling. Why is he traveling? His father has said, after he has passed his class 10 exam, that you go without money and go all over India and purify yourself. And that boy had simply listened to the father and he was walking. So he said that he had gone to North India and now he is in South India. And here somebody told him that there is an ashram, it had become evening, so he has come to take shelter. Swamiji was busy, he was talking to some people, and when he became free, he started talking to that boy, very young boy, very sweet looking boy, very innocent. But there was a shadow of suffering in the face. So he said that in South India he is not getting that much of reception. In North India people were giving him alms, but here sometimes people do not. So Swamiji said, oh, you stay here, take rest, and as long as you can, you take rest, recover your health, and then only you can go from here. So we gave a room to him. We had only one guest house at that time. So he went there. It was an upstairs room. So Swamiji called him, and then whenever possible, before dinner, after dinner, Swamiji was calling him, embracing him, showing lot of love, talking to him, asking what all experiences he had. And Swamiji was feeling very happy. Generally, he is very happy seeing young brahmacharis. So next day, after breakfast, Swamiji called him and spoke to him and told him, Beta, you are looking very weak and your dresses are also very torn. You stay here. You eat very well and you should become healthy. Also your dresses are very torn. I will make some dresses for you. After that you can go from here. And after that we all went in our own work. At about 10 o'clock again Swamiji said, call the boy, I want to talk to him again. He had gone to his room. So we were calling from below. Nobody was responding. So Nathan Swamiji went up to his room, came back with a piece of paper in which the boy has written, Shraddheya Swamiji, in Hindi only he had written that, respected Swamiji, you have given me so much love in one day that I feel I'll get bound by your love. And if I stay here, even for some moments, I will not be able to go forward. Keeping that note, he had gone. Just imagine. Swamiji wanted to give him good dress, some security, some money he would have given, good food, good room to stay. He did not stay. Aniketaha. No attachment. Just he is roaming about. So such people are there in our country. And to take away this I-ness and mine-ness from everything, and the I-ness and mine-ness for which we suffer actually in these slokas is Aniketaha is written. We get attached to our family, the place where we stay, the food that we eat, the prestige that we have, the name and fame, the respect that we get, or the activities that we do, we just get attached. Not only the house. Vivikta Chira Vasanam. What is Vivikta Chira Vasanam? That is, one should be satisfied. Satisfied with what? Even if one has only torn clothes to wear, one should be satisfied. Vivikta chira vasanam santosham yena kenachit. That is, even if you, see, initially it is aniketaha. Even if you do not have any place to stay, you should be happy, peaceful. Now he says, Vivikta chira vasanam. In aniketaha we were discussing, then one should not get attached to the way of living, the house itself, the luxury and comforts, the way of living. Nothing we should get attached to. We should not be clinging to that, we should not be possessive about that. Now it comes to Vivikta chira vasanam santosham yena kenachit. Even if you have torn clothes, you should be happy. Whatever may be the situation, you should be happy, contented. That is, our mind should have samatha, and that kind of a feeling that I want nothing. Whatever comes in the life, favorable, unfavorable. Suppose we are in a position or a situation where we have everything, not torn clothes, we get very good clothes to wear. We have got more than necessary. Okay, but don't get attached to it. Don't cling to that. Be ready. Anytime if it goes, let it go. Be ready to give away to others who need. So, that contentment is what we must have. In the previous sloka it was samatvam dvandva samjayoho. So we were discussing about the samatva, whatever situation. Now in this sloka, it is all the more in detail. The Kavi is saying, the Yogi is saying, where all you can be, where all you can really practice this samatha. And how will that samatha come? See God everywhere. So your mind should be on God and seeing God and the oneness, so that all these things will not matter to you anymore. Kaupinam shatakhanda jarjarataram kantha punastadrishi naischintam nirapeksha bhaikshamashanam nidrashmashane vane स्वातन्त्र्येन निरङ्कुशं विहरणं स्वान्तं प्रशान्तं सदा स्थैर्यं योगमहोत्सवेऽपि च यदि त्रैलोक्यराज्येन किम् कौपीनं शतखण्डजर्जरतरं कन्था पुनस्तादृशी. This is a shloka from Vairagya Shatakam. Bhartrihari. What does it say? It talks about that santosham. Yadrichhalava santushtaha. Vivikta chira vasanam santosham yena kenachit. That is, be contented by whatever you get. Yadrichhalava santushtaha. So then sloka by Bhartrihari, it says, talks of a yogi. We are also talking of the yogis, the seekers, the devotees who are wanting to tread this path to become a true devotee, a jnani, one who wants to become a jnani, one who wants to realize. They have to tread this path, acquiring these qualities. On the path, we are acquiring these qualities so that drop by drop, the mind becomes quiet. Because the qualities that we are trying to acquire all are leading us to the oneness, leading us to abheda, no differentiation, leading us to such qualities which do not agitate us, makes the mind calm, tranquil. So, this sloka is talking of that yogi. What is he? Kaupinam shatakhanda jarjarataram kantha punastadrishi. Kaupinam shatakhanda jarjarataram kantha punastadrishi. So this yogi, this sannyasi or the seeker, he has a loincloth. And it is shatakhanda jarjara. It is torn, the loincloth. He has only one loincloth. That is also torn at 100 places. So much torn. Kantha punastadrishi. And he has a wrapper like this, by which he is covering himself. That is also tadrishi. Means that is also of the same kind, that is having several holes in it. Naischintyam kantha punastadrishi. Naischintyam nirapeksha bhaikshamashanam nidrashmashane vane. Naischintyam nirapeksha bhaikshamashanam. So he has that kind of a dress. What is the dress? Loincloth, which is very torn, and one cloth to cover him, which is also very torn. He is not bothered about it. He doesn't feel that, oh, what will people think? He has this. He doesn't have anything else. He is going. Naischintyam, but he is nischinta, without worry. Look at us, ordinary people. Even though we have very good dress to wear, wearing costly dresses, costly jewelry, going for parties, even then the mind will be thinking, will people like my dress? Or are others wearing costlier dresses, costlier jewelry? What will others think? That becomes the agitating factor in the mind. What will others think about me? This one doesn't have anything, he is going. And naischintyam, he is nischinta. Nischinta means worryless. Naischintyam nirapeksha bhaikshamashanam. And he doesn't look for food. If he gets, he will eat. If he doesn't get, he will not eat. Nirapeksha, that is without any expectation. He is absolutely worryless and he has no expectation. If he gets food, he will eat. If he doesn't get food, he will not eat. Nidra shmashane vane. And he sleeps. Where does he sleep? Either in the smashana, in the cremation ground. Nobody is there to drive him away. Or in the forest. Wherever he feels, he'll sleep. Why? Because every place he feels, he's sleeping in the lap of God. Nidra smashane vane. This whole world is his. Vasudhaiva kutumbakam. He doesn't feel anything. Wherever he goes, he's okay. Swatantrena nirankusham viharanam. So that is why, because his attitude is like this, he is independently walking off. Swatantrena nirankusham viharanam. So he just walks from here to there, there to there. If he gets food, he will eat. If he's sleepy, he will sleep somewhere. Either under a tree or in a forest or in a cremation ground, sometimes in a temple, wherever. He has nothing to choose, no expectation. I am nothing, I want nothing. This is the condition. And Swatantrena nirankusham viharanam Swantam prashantam sada. Swantam. He is able to do so because he is absolutely absorbed in himself. Prashantam, and that is why he is Prashanta, absolutely quiet and calm, without any agitation. Sada, always, always, not only during meditation, not only during some worship, not only during listening to a lecture, not only during what you are doing. If you like it, you will become very happy. Not like that. Such happinesses will come and go, dependent on certain things. His happiness is not dependent on anything because he doesn't want anything. He doesn't expect anything. He is happy with everything. He is happy with nothing. This is his condition. Sthairyam yoga mahotsave pijayadi. Why is he like this? Sthairyam yoga mahotsave pijayadi trailokya rajyena kim. How is he like this? Because he is stable in yoga mahotsava. He has merged into himself. He is seated in himself. And that is the Mahotsava. See, when there is Utsava, festival, how happy we are. And when there are Mahotsavas, it is joy and joy and joy. But Mahotsavas also get over. All festivities get over. And then we look forward to another festivity when it will come. But what is Yoga Mahotsava? This is a Mahotsava, a festivity, joy, which depends on yoga, depends on the merging of oneself in oneself, within oneself, the joy of that. And this yogi has attained that. He is established in that. He is stable in that. Sthairyam yoga mahotsave pichayadi trailokya rajyena kim. Bhartrihari is saying in this shloka that this is the condition of the yogi. He is established in this. For him, what will he do with trailokya rajyam? The kingdom, 3 kingdoms, the 3 worlds, even if he gets, what will he do? Because whatever is material, even if he gets a kingdom, 1,000 kingdoms, all that will be over. All that will be over. He is in that state which does not disappear. It is always there. Always there. So, Kaupinam shatakhanda jarjarataram kantha punastadrishi naischintyam nirapeksha bhaikshamasanam nidrashmashane vane swatantrena nirankusham viharanam swantam prashantam sada sthairyam yoga mahotsave pichayadi trailokya rajyena kim. The kingdom of the 3 worlds, even if he gets, he doesn't want it, what will he do with it? Because he is already in that kind of bliss. That kind of bliss. He is. So, santosham yena kenachit. And but there is another shloka, is it? That also you must be knowing, I must have told you. Vayamiha paritushta valkalai svam dukulaihi samaiva paritosho nirvishesho visheshaha satu bhavati daridro yasya trishna vishala manasi cha paritushte korthavan ko daridra. One Raja met one sadhu and he became his disciple. So Raja was wearing silk. Raja every day used to come to the sadhu who was under a tree wearing the bark of a tree. He used to sit there. So the Raja had heard that some sadhu is there, had gone and liked him and felt devoted to him and became the disciple. He used to every day come and offer his pranams. Then Raja noted that my Guru is wearing bark of a tree. Oh my goodness. His body is so soft. It must be giving him a lot of pain. I am wearing a silk, soft silk, and he is wearing a dress which is so hard. How can that be? So the Raja said, my dear Lord, I want to gift you silk dresses. So the Guru says, Vayamiha paritushta balkalaihi tvam dukulaihi. So the sadhu is telling on behalf of every sannyasi. He is saying that see, we are contented, we are satisfied by balkala, that is the bark of trees. We wear bark of trees, those days they used to wear. Tvam dukulaihi, dukula means silk. And you are happy wearing silk. I am also happy wearing a balkala. You are happy wearing silk. Samaiva paritosho. The happiness and the contentment, what you get by wearing silk and I get by wearing balkala is the same. The happiness is the same. I am also happy, you are also happy. There is no difference in that happiness. That is the one visheshata. That whether you are wearing a silk and I am wearing this balkala, in our minds, the happiness that is there, that is same. Mind is same. Satu bhavati daridro yasya trishna vishala. Now, you are wanting to give me silk, thinking that I cannot afford to buy silk. So I am not wearing. Because I cannot afford to buy, I am wearing balkala, the bark of a tree. And thinking that I am daridra, I am poor. Satu bhavati daridro yasya trishna vishala. A person becomes poor whose desires and expectations are many. By that, he is wanting to say that I don't desire to have silk. So I am not poor. You are thinking that I am not able to buy silk, that is why I am poor. But actually a person becomes poor whose expectations and desires are many. Manasi cha paritushte korthavan ko daridraha. If somebody's mind is absolutely contented, then what is the difference between a rich man or a poor man? A rich man, if his mind is absolutely contented, or a poor man, if the mind is contented, then what is the difference? Mind should be contented. The mind should be contented. That is what santosham yena kenachit yadrichala vasantushta. And you think all our problems are because we are not having contentment in life. We are constantly thinking and wanting something. So this contentment, this practice of contentment, that is absolutely necessary. Sarvatratmeshwaran viksham kaivalyam aniketatam vivikta chira vasanam santosham yena kenachit. So that contentment should be always there. That contentment, unless the contentment is there, the mind will always be restless. So what is to be done? Lot of introspection. Why are we desiring? Constantly have this vichara in the mind. Whatever one is desiring, is it a need or a desire? Is it absolutely necessary or not? If not, why the mind is desiring? How it can be reduced? How it can be removed? And all the desire will go once the mind starts loving the self, God or Brahman. This is what any seeker everywhere, whether a seeker is there or a devotee is there, in their path towards the self-realization, God realization, one must have this yadrichha lava santushtaha or santosham yena kenachit. Somehow try to be contented. Triptaha. That is, how will we become triptaha? How will we become triptaha? Swasmin sada nandati kridati swayam nirantaranandarasena triptaha. Swasmin sada kridati nandati swayam nirantaranandarasena triptaha. The tripti. What is this tripti? That is the santushti, contentment. When we know why we are not contented, because we are constantly wanting to be happy. From where? Constantly desiring to have things we do not have. Whether it is an object, or whether it is a situation, whether it is some people, association of people, constantly we are thinking that I do not have this, I must have that. But all those things which we want from outside does not give us permanent happiness. People will go, places will go, situations will go, everything will change. Whatever we want, suppose we get it also, it will be over after some time. Even all the name, fame, prestige, respect, money, prosperity, health, everything will go. So, one has to do introspection every moment, my dear children. Again and again that vichara comes. Vichara. We must do vichara. What? In this it says, Swasmin sada kridati nandati swayam. Don't look outside. Your happiness, permanent happiness, will never come from outside. If you have things to enjoy, enjoy. But know that that is not enough. That is not the be-all and end-all of life. Look into oneself. There is a fountain of joy, fountain of happiness, which is self-effulgent. It is coming out. Swasmin, look into oneself. There is a joy. Try to catch that. Try to be established in that. Be seated in that. Swasmin sada kridati nandati swayam. Rejoice in that. Play in that. Sport in that. Don't look outside to rejoice, outside to sport, outside to get happiness and bliss. Look inside. Look inside. Make a habit of looking inside. There is a fountain of joy. Touch it. Get soaked in it. Drenched by that. Swasmin sada kridati nandati swayam. If you do that, what will happen? Nirantarananda rasena triptaha. Then what will happen? Nirantara. Nirantara means unceasing. Ananda rasa. There is an ananda rasa, the nectar of joy. You will be able to get drenched in that. Be completely soaked in that. And that will make you triptaha, contented. Because that doesn't disappear. That doesn't decay. That is the Atma, avikari, eternal, imperishable. So through all these things, though the word is santosham yena kenachit, what are we constantly being told? Look inside. Look into yourself. Try to find it. Inside you and outside you. Inside you, when you are in meditation or you are just sitting. Outside you, in all activities, everywhere, whatever you are doing, see the self, the same self. Be a ball of divinity. That is what Swamiji has told in this Prabhat Rashmi. Find that divinity surrounding, inside, outside, up, below, sideways, everywhere. In our thoughts, in our actions, in our speech, in our interactions, in all people that we meet, all that we do, all our behavior. Try to find that divinity beneath. Okay. Sampurnam Jagadeva Nandanavanam Sarvepi Kalpadrumaha Gangam Vari Samasta Vari Nivaha Punya Samasta Kriyaha Vacha Prakrita Samskrita Shruti Shiro Varanasi Medini Sarvavasthitirasya Vastu Vishaya Drishti Parabrahmani Sarvavasthitirasya Vastu Vishaya Drishti Parabrahmani. Jai Guru, Jai Guru.